Hello, and welcome to a reading of Book 20 from the Odyssey. Also, my piano's right there because I'm gonna get bored because I'm reading like 4 today. Okay, let's start. Outside in the entryway, he made his bed, raw oxhide, spread on level ground, and heaped up fleeces, left from the sheep that Achaeans killed. And when he had lain down, Eurynomé flung out a robe to cover him. Unsleeping the lord Odysseus lay, and roved in thought to the undoing of his enemies. Now came a convoy of women, laughing as they slipped out, arm in arm, as many a night before, to the suitors' beds. And anger took him. Oh, God. Anyway, anger took him like a wave to leap into their midst and kill them, every one. Or should he let them all go hot to bed one final night? His heart cried out within him the way a bratch with whelps between her legs would howl and bristle at a stranger. So the hackles of his heart rose at that laughter. Knocking his breast, he muttered to himself, "Down, be steady. You've seen worse. That time the Cyclops, like a rock slide, ate your men while you looked on. Nobody, only guile, got you out of that cave alive." His rage, held hard in leash, submitted in his mind, while he himself rocked, rolling from side to side, as a cook turns a sausage, big with blood and fat, at a scorching blaze without a pause, to broil it quick. So he rolled left and right, casting about to see how he alone could face the false, outrageous crowd of suitors, could press the fight. And out of the night sky, Athena came to him, out of the nearby dark, in a body like a woman, came and stood over his head to chide him. "Why so wakeful, most forlorn of men? Here is your home, here lies your lady, and your son is here, as fine as one could wish a son to be." Odysseus looked up and answered, "Aye, goddess, that much is true, but still I have some cause to fret in this affair. I am one man. How can I whip those dogs? They are always here in force. Neither is that the end of it. There's more to come. If by the will of Zeus and by your will I killed them all, where would I go for safety? Tell me that." And the great goddess said, "Your touching faith. Another man would trust some villainous mortal with no brains. And what am I? Your goddess guardian to the end in all your trials? Let it be plain as day. Every sword sang for your blood. Let it be plain as day. 50 bands of men surrounded us, and every sword sang for your blood. You can make off still with your cows and sheep. Now you too, go to sleep. This all-night vigil wearies the flesh. You'll come out soon enough on the other side of trouble." Now I'm going to create ambient music to play in the background. Raining soft sleep on his eyes, the beautiful one was gone. Back to Olympos. Now at peace, the man slumbered and lay still. But not his lady. Wakeful again, with all her cares, reclining in the soft bed, she wept and cried aloud until she had her fill of tears. Then spoke in her prayer first to Artemis. "O gracious divine lady Artemis." Yeah, this is hard to do. I can't do it. Wait, let me record it. Just so you guys can hear it. we have that music playing in the background, we can continue. Oh, gracious divine Lady Artemis, daughter of Zeus, if you can only make an end now, quickly. Let the arrow fly, stop my heart. Or if some wind could take me by the hair up into running cloud to plunge in tides of ocean. As hurricane winds took Pandario's daughters, when they were left at home alone. The gods had sapped their parents' lives, but Aphrodite fed those children honey, cheese, and wine. And Hera gave them looks and wit. And Artemis, pure Artemis, gave lovely height and wise. Athena made them practiced in her arts, till Aphrodite in glory walked on Olympus, begging for each a happy wedding from Zeus, the lightning's joyous king, who knows all fate of mortals, fair and foul. But even at that hour, the cyclone winds had ravaged them away, to serve the loathsome Furies. Let me be blown out by the Olympians, shot by Artemis. I still might go and see amid the shades Odysseus and the rot of the underworld. No coward's eye shall light by my consenting. Evil may be endured when our days pass in mourning, heavy-hearted, hard beset, if only sleep reign over nighttime, blanketing the world with good and evil from our eyes. But not for me. Dreams to my demon sends me. Tonight the image of my lord came by as I remembered him with the troops. Oh, strange exultation! I thought him real, and not a dream. Now as the dawn appeared, all stitched in gold, the queen's cry reached Odysseus at his waking, so that he wondered, half asleep, if it seemed she knew him, and stood near him. Then he woke and picked up his bedding, up to stow away. On a chair in the Megaron, the ox-hide pad he took outdoors. There, spreading wide his arms, he prayed, O Father Zeus, if over land and water, after adversity, you wild to bring me home, let someone in the waking house give me good augury, and a sign be shown, too, in the outer world. He prayed thus, and the mind of Zeus in heaven heard him. He thundered out to bright Olympus, down from above the cloudlands in reply. A rousing peal for Odysseus. Then a token came to him from a woman grinding flour in the court nearby. His own hand mills were there, and 12 maids had the job of grinding out whole grain and barley meal, the pith of men. Now all the rest, their bushels ground, were sleeping. One only, frail and slow, kept at it still. She stopped, stayed her hand, and her lord heard the omen from her lips. Ah, Father Zeus, almighty over gods and men, a great bang of thunder was surely out of the starry sky, and not a cloud in sight. It is your nod to someone. Hear me then. Make what I say come true. Let this day be the last the suitors feed so dainty in Odysseus' hall. They've made me work my heart out till I drop, grinding barley. May they feast no more. The servant's prayer, after the cloudless thunder of Zeus, Odysseus heard with lifting heart, sure in his bones that vengeance was at hand. Then the other servants, wakening, came down to build and light a fresh fire at the hearth. Telemachus, clear-eyed as a god, awoke, put on his shirt and belted on his sword, bound rawhide sandals under his smooth feet, took his bronze-shod lance. He came and stood on the broad sill of the doorway, calling Euryclea, Nurse, dear nurse, how do you treat our guest? Had he a supper and a good bed? Has he lain uncared for still? My mother is like that, perverse for all her cleverness. She'd entertain some riffraff and turn out a solid man. The old nurse answered him, I would not be so quick to accuse her, child. He sat and drank here while he had a mind to. Food he no longer hungered for, he said, for she did ask him. When he thought of sleeping, she ordered him to make bed. Poor soul, poor gentleman, so humble and so miserable. He would accept no bed with rugs to lie on, but slept on sheepskins and raw oxhide in the entryway. We covered him ourselves. Telemachus left the hall, hefting his lance, with 2 swift, flickering hounds for company, to face the island Achaeans in the square, and gently bore Euryclea to the daughter of Ops Icynorides called to the maids, "Bestir yourselves, you have your brooms. Go sprinkle the rooms and sweep them. Robe the chairs in red. Sponge off the tables till they shine. Wash out the wine bowls and two-handed cups. You others go fetch water from the spring. No lording, come straight back. Our company will be here soon. Morning is sure to bring them. Everyone has a holiday today." The women ran to obey her, 20 girls off to the spring with jars for dusky water, the rest at work out inside. Then tall woodcutters entered to split up logs for the hearth fire. The water carriers returned, and on their heels arrived the swineherd, driving 3 fat pigs, chosen among his pen. In the wide court, chosen among his pens, in the wide court, he let them feed and said to Odysseus kindly, "Friend, are they more respectful of you now, or still insulting you?" Replied Odysseus, "The young men, yes, and may the gods requite those insolent puppies for the game they play. In a home not their own, they have no decency." During this talk, Melanthios, the goat herd, came in, driving goats for the suitors' feast. With his 2 herdsmen, under the portico they had tied the animals, and Melanthios looked at Odysseus with a sneer. He said, "Stranger, I see you mean to stay and turn our stomachs begging in this hall. Clear out, why don't you? Or will you have to taste a bloody beating before you see the point? Your begging ways nauseate everyone. You dare our feast elsewhere." Odysseus answered not a word, but grimly shook his head over his murderous heart. A 3rd man came up now, Philotius, the cattle foreman, with an ox behind him and fat goats. And fat goats for the suitors. Ferrymen had brought these from the mainland, as they bring travelers too, whoever comes along. Philotius tied the beasts under the portico and joined the swineherd. "Who is this?" he asked. "Who is the new arrival at the manor? A Achaean? Or what else does he claim to be? Where is family and friend, fields of home? Down on his luck, all right. Carries himself like a captain. How the immortal gods can change and drag us down once they begin to spin dark days for us. Kings and commanders too." Then he stepped over and took Odysseus by the right hand, saying, "Welcome, sir. May good luck lie ahead at the next turn. Hard times you're having, surely. Oh, Zeus! No god is more berserk in heaven if gentlefolk, whom you yourself begot. You plunge in grief and hardship without mercy. Sir, I began to sweat when I first saw you, and tears came to my eyes, remembering Odysseus. Rags like these he may be wearing somewhere on his wanderings now. I mean, if he's alive still under the sun. But if he's dead, and in the house of death, I mourn Odysseus. He entrusted cows to me in Kephalenia when I was knee-high, and now his herds are numberless. No man else ever had cattle multiply like grain. But new men tell me I must bring my beeves to feed them, who care nothing for our prince, fear nothing from the watchful gods. They crave partition of our lost king's land and wealth. My own feelings keep going round and round upon this tether. Can I desert the boy by moving, herds and all, to another country, a new life among the strangers? Yet it's worse to stay here in my old post, herding cattle for upstairs." Wow, not that much left. Well, we're 20 minutes in. So, what's going on here? People, everyone, oof. Okay, Odysseus saw some women going in to have some fun times with the suitors. It took long enough. So the women were all going in to have some fun with the suitors, and the suitors were all like, and Odysseus wanted to kill them right then and there, but then he restrained himself. And Athena's like, "Why don't you just kill them right now?" And he's like, "That's not a good idea." And she's like, "Yeah, it's probably not a good idea." And then the people, Telemachus was like, "How's our friend treated?" And then the maids were all like, "Yeah, he was offered a bed and stuff, but Penelope offered it, but he refused and actually just slept out in the open like that." And that was And then the swineherd Eumaeus comes back, and then the other guy, the guy they insulted him, and like the bad guy, the bad suitor, comes in and he's like, haha, I see you're still here. Why don't you just leave? And then Eumaeus was like, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. You remind me of Odysseus. And then while all the suitors were like insulting him and stuff. All right, let's record a new song. Just so that you guys don't get bored. Oh, I messed it up. That would definitely make it bad to have that on repeat. Yeah, it can't be like an actual melody, because that's not ambient enough. So let me just come up with a random chord progression that repeats. God, I'm gonna die. Jeez, okay. Okay, let's have this on repeat. This is awful. This is horrible. This is awful. All right. Yeah, I have no clue what I'm gonna play. Yeah, let's just do stupid. Yeah, you guys get the point. Just imagine that song is playing in the background for the rest of this. Okay. Okay, good. I have gone long. Okay, yeah. Odysseus, with his mind on action, answered, Herdsman, I make you out to be no coward and no fool. I can see that for myself. So let me tell you this. I swear by Zeus all highest, by the table set for friends, and by your king's hearthstone, to which I've come, Odysseus will return. You'll be on hand to see, if you care to see, how those who lord it will be cut down. The cowman said, Would God it all came true, you'd see the fight that's in me. Then Eumaeus echoed him and invoked the gods and prayed that his great mind master should return. While these three talked, the suitors in the field had come together plotting. What but death for Telemachus? When from the left an eagle crossed from a rock dove in his claws, and Phinemus got up. Said he, cutting them short, Friends, no luck in that plain lies for us. No luck knifing the lad. Let's think of feasting. A grateful thought. and walking on, entered the great hall of the great hero Odysseus, where they all dropped their cloaks on chairs or couches and made ritual slaughter. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get better at doing this. And all dropped their cloaks on chairs or couches and made a ritual slaughter, knifing sheep, fat pigs, and goats, knifing the grass-fed steer. Then tribes were all broiled and eaten. Mixing bowls were filled with wine. The swineherd passed out cups. Philoetius, chief cowherd, dumped loaves into the panniers. Melanthios. I have to be like singing the book while I'm doing this. Melanthios poured wine, and all their hands went out upon the feast. Telemachus placed his father to advantage just at the doorsill of the pillared hall, setting a stool there and sawed-off table. Gave him a share of trips, poured out his wine into a golden cup, and said, "Stay here, sit down to drink with our friends. I stand between you and any cutting word or cuffing hand from any suitor. Here is no public house but the old home of Odysseus, my inheritance. Hold your tongues then, gentlemen, and your blows, and let no wrangling start, no scuffle either." The others, disconcerted, built their lips, and at the ring in the young man's voice, Antinous, Euphthes' son, turned round to them and said, "It goes against the grain, my lords, but still I say we take this hectoring by Telemachus. You know Zeus balked at it, or else we might have shut his mouth a long time past, the silvery speaker." But Telemachus paid no heed to what Antinous said. Now public heralds wound through Ithaca, leading a file of beasts for a sacrifice. Yeah, I can't do this. And the islanders gathered under the shade trees of Apollo, in the precant of the archer, while in hall the suitors roasted mutton and fat beef on skewers, pulling off the fragrant cuts. And those who did the roasting served Odysseus a portion equal to their own. So close. For so Telemachus commanded. But Athena had no desire now to let the suitors restrain themselves from wounding words and acts. Laertes' son again must be offended. This was a scapegrace fellow in the crowd, named Xisxbus, rich beyond all measure, arrogant with riches. Early and later a bidder for Odysseus's queen. Now this one called attention to himself. "Hear me, my lords, I have a thing to say. Our friend has had this fair share from the start, and that's polite. It would be the most improper if we were cold guests to Telemachus, no matter what tramps turn up. Well then, look here, let me throw in my own small contribution. He must have prices to confer himself on some brave bathman or another slave here in Odysseus' house." His hand went backward, and fishing out a cow's foot from the basket, he let it fly. Odysseus, Odysseus let his head to one side softly, ducking the blow. Smile, a crooked smile, the teeth clenched. On the wall, the cow's foot struck and fell. Telemachus blazed up. "Odysseus, lucky for you. By heaven, not to have hit him. He took care of himself. Else you'd have my lance head in your belt. No marriage, but a grave instead on Ithaca for your father's pains. You others, let me see no more contemptible conduct in my house. I've been awake to it for a long time." Wait. By Why now? No, wait. Let me get out my electric piano and just play some smooth, just some jazz. You others, let me see no more contempt. I was a child. I can endure it while sheep are slaughtered, wine drunk up and bread. Can one man check the greed of 100 men? But I will suffer no more viciousness. Granted, you mean at last to cut me down. I welcome that. It's better to die than have humiliation always before my eyes. The stranger buffeted, and the serving women dragged about, abused in a noble house. They quieted, grew still under his lashing. And after a long silence, Galos, the master's son, spoke to them all. Wait, let me just do both hands. Friends, I hope no one will answer like a fishwife. What has been said is true. Hands off this stranger. He is no target, neither is any servant here in the hall of King Odysseus. Let me say a word, though, to Telemachus and his mother, if it please them both. As long as hope remained in you to see Odysseus, that great gifted man again, you cannot be reproached for obstinacy. Trying the suitors down here. Better so, if still your father, fear the great sea homeward. How plain it is, though now. Go sit then by your mother, reason with her. Let her take to the best man, highest bidder, and you can have and hold your patrimony. Feed on it, drink it all, while she adorns another's house. Keeping his head, Telemachus replied, By Zeus almighty, Agallius, and by my father's suffering, far from Ithaca, whether he's dead or not. I make no impediment to my mother's marriage. Take whom you wish, I say. I'll add my dowry. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, that's jazzy. But can I pack her off against her will? Her own home? Heaven forbid! At this, Pallas Athena touched off in the suitors. A fit of laughter, uncontrollable, she drove them into a nightmare, till they wheezed and neighed as though with jaws no longer theirs, while blood defiled their meat, and blurring tears flooded their eyes, hearts sore with woe to come. Then said the visionary, Theoclymenus, Oh, lost sad men, what terror is this you suffer? Night shrouds you to the knees. Your heads, your faces, dry wretch of death runs round like fire and sticks. Your cheeks are streaming. These fire walls and pedestals are dripping crimson blood, and thick with shades is the entryway. The courtyard thick with shades, passing her thrice toward Erebus, into the dark. The sun is quenched in heaven. Foul mist hems us in. The young men greeted this with shouts of laughter, and Eurymachus, the son of Polybus, crowed. The mind of our new guest has gone astray. Hustle him out of the doors, lads, into the sunlight. He finds it as night inside. The men of vision looked at him and said, when I need help, I'll ask for it, Eurymachus. I have my eyes and ears, a pair of legs, and a straight mind still with me. These will do to take me out. Damnation and a black night I see arriving for yourselves. No shelter for any in this crowd. Food and vipers in the king's own hall. With this, he left that handsome room and went home to Perseus, who received him kindly. The suitors made wide eyes at one another and set to work to proving Telemachus with jokes about his friends. One said, for instance, Telemachus, no man is a luckier host when it comes to what the cat dragged in. What burning when it comes to what the cat dragged in. What burning eyes your beggar had for bread and wine, but not for labor, not for a single heave. Must he be a dead weight on the field? Then comes this other with this mumbo jumbo. Boy, for your own good, I tell you, toss them both into a slave ship for the sickles. That would pay you. Telemachus ignored the suitor's talk. He kept his eyes on the silence on his father's, awaiting the first blow. Meanwhile, the daughters of Icarius, Penelope, had placed her chair to look across and down on father and son at bay. She heard the crowd and how they laughed as they resumed their dinner. A fragrant feast, for many beasts were slain. But as for supper, the men supped never colder than these. And what the goddess and the warrior were even then preparing for the suitors, whose treachery had filled that house with pain. Summary. This took longer than it should have, but at least I had fun. Summary. Odysseus was a beggar. He saw some suitors. Basically, nothing happened. Literally, nothing happened. Yeah. Odysseus saw some women going with the suitors. The suitors were going to have a fun old time with them. And then Odysseus was mad and he wanted to kill them. But then he's like, I shouldn't kill them. And Athena's like, why didn't you kill him? And he's like, I don't want to kill him. And she's like, yeah, that's fair. And Telemachus was like, hey, did he get a good night's rest? And they're like, he slept outside. He did that by himself. We offered him a room. And they were like, shoot. Dang. And then the one goat herder came in and he insulted them again, and Eumaeus came in and he complimented Odysseus and like defended Odysseus and the rags he was wearing. Basically, very little happened, and then they basically said to take the beggar and Theoclymenus to just go on a slave ship and just go away. So basically, the suitors were rude. We learned nothing.